All right, I'm back. Here we go. So feel free. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Feel free to put in the chat where you're joining from. I just ran inside to put my dog in a back room because he can hear me outside and it's a glorious day. And he's like, I want to be out there too, just not right now. So welcome to First Friday Slow Birding for November. We're going to give folks a few minutes to arrive. It's a great time to put in the chat where you're joining from. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to see more people on the screen because I'm doing something a little bit different today. I'm broadcasting from my phone so I could get a totally different angle and kind of play around with what it might be like to broadcast from a phone. So I'm just going to try to tap some buttons here and hopefully not make anybody go away. Let's see. I'll give folks a few minutes to arrive. So we've got Shirley from Danville, yes. Janet, yay, from Peterborough. Penny from New Hampshire. All right. Did I lose everybody? Hopefully not. I think I'm still here. I am still here. It's very interesting when you're on your phone trying to see other peeps, and maybe it's all right if I don't. We're just rolling in, allowing folks to come in. I'm going to enable closed captioning if you need that. I'm trying to do a better job at making things more accessible. And so please feel free to remind me if I ever forget. If you need closed captioning, I'm totally happy to put that on for you. And as I'm learning, I'm scrolling through this to see what else I could do. Meeting settings, backgrounds and effects. Welcome, come on in, get settled. I'm gonna let you know we're gonna do something a little bit strange today, which is lying down on our back and looking up at the sky. So if you have a lounge chair or you can get someplace close to a window, that'll be really good. And I'm also going to ask everybody to make sure you're muted. So if you can mute your account, that would be great. Feel free to put stuff in the chat because I've got a laptop over here where I'm following that. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Let's see, we've got Heidi from Norwich. Oh, yes, somebody joining in from Florida. It's so nice out. I'm going to take off my shoes because it's kind of warm in the sun. It's about 63 degrees here in Vermont today, which is really, really odd for Vermont in November. I'm hoping everybody can hear me all right. If somebody could just check in with that, that would be good to make sure that the volume is good. Let me know in the chat. Maybe you'll be able to hear the birds behind me that are coming into my feeders, which are like right over my shoulder there. Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. Oh, good. Penelope, you can hear my birds. Okay, so, and if I'm really quiet, when we do the guided, it's not going to be a sit spot. It's going to be a lay down spot today. When we do the guided part, listen because the evening grosbeaks are here and I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. So welcome. If you're just arriving, get comfy. I've got a glass of cider today with me, trying to stay with the seasonal aspect of things. I've got my binoculars and my journal. I've got a poem for today too, so that'll be really good. Fairfield, Vermont, all right. All right, we are at 12:05. So this is where I get to officially welcome you to the November First Friday Slow Birding session. You are seeing me in my backyard. My house is literally like right here. This is, oh, I hear you guys. Yes, the birds are like going nuts over my head right now. It's great. So my house is right here. This is where my sunroom is, where we sat last month and gazed from inside to the outside. I am in downtown St. Albans, which is in northwestern Vermont. very close to the Missisquoi River, which is part of the unceded land for the Abenaki people of the Dawn Land, who are still very active and present in our communities here. A lot of really great groups doing great work to continue that thread of the Indigenous knowledge in our Northwestern Vermont communities. So today, oh my gosh, I'm feeling really grateful for the sun today, even though it feels odd that it's November. And grateful for, oh my gosh, number 11 in the First Friday slow birding session. And so some of you have joined from the very beginning. I'm hoping to continue this next year. I'm going to be sending out a survey. Some of you may have already seen it about some new programs for next year. Including some deeper listening. Ooh, speaking of deeper listening, the grosbeaks are calling right along the edge of my backyard. And there's red-bellied woodpecker too. So I'll make sure that you guys get that. You can find it on my Facebook page, and maybe I'll try to put a link on my website as well. I'm always interested in what interests you and what you would like to do together. Okay, so today, plan for today. This week in my monthly kind of e-blast out, I talked about kithship, not kinship, but kithship. And kith, that word kith was really intriguing to me. You've probably heard this said before, and a lot of us may be using this phrase as we come closer to the holidays and all these times of gathering, but gathering with kith and kin, or returning to see and visit kith and kin. And I was listening to this really cool interview with Leanda Lynn Haupt earlier this year. She's the author of Rooted, which is a really beautiful book about the art and science and spirit of nature connection. And she was talking about how we've lost the meaning of that word kith. And she explained that it actually comes from like 14th century English language, and it actually means country or homeland or land or landscape. And so when we talk about kithship, that's a deep connection with land. And so when you return home to visit kith and kin, it's not just about kin, friends, and family, but it's also about returning to your home place, returning to the land where you came from. And in slow birding, a lot of our practice is based in this sit spot method. And it's not just about getting to know the birds, but it's also about getting to know place. So I've been thinking a lot about kithship and how to strengthen our own kithship. And so today, I'm going to read another poem from J. Drew Lanham. Last month, I read Sparrow Envy from his book, Sparrow Envy, which is this one. Look at this super cool cover. This is a really lovely, it's just a little tiny book. And it's great to sit down with in the early morning hours or the late evening hours with a cup of coffee, or maybe like a glass of wine on the other end, and just flip open to something and see what sticks for you. So I'm going to read a poem, then we're going to go into a guided lay session because we're not going to do sit spot. And I'll tell you why I'm really curious about kind of being on the land in this different position when we get closer to that. So I'm just going to come back in. Yes, please feel free. I'm checking the chat. Feel free to drop in what you're noticing in your yard. You can be listening not only to me, but what might be what you can hear in terms of birds in my yard. And yeah, side conversations are totally cool in the chat. I'm down with that. Okay, so we'll start with this. So this is from Sparrow Envy, and this is called Icterid Indecision. A give and take between field and forest, an ebb of grackles, a flow of blackbirds, hordes of blackness, back and forth from tree naked crown to bare ground, a tide of feathers high, then low, a flood loosened over weeds dyed to brown, covering crops gone to seed. Sunflower heads bowed to their yellow god, hidden for the day behind clouds. Then, as if a single soul among tens of thousands I never counted, found inspiration, imagined itself the lone wheel, the pivot in a swirling, sweeping design of legions in unison flying, gave by rusty hinged call, or some icterid whispered sign only understood by the black plumaged kind, the command. But lacking conviction, as many but not all flew in gathered mass, a sphere half pulsing, rushed to rising, a single shushing of millions of feathers pinioning against one another, and the other multiplied over and over and over, shushing again to swishing, then a single turn as if to grow to something greater, collapsed to quiet, just a murmur, silence, save the conversation over consumption. All in the uprising settled back to indecision. The tide recedes, forest to field, then back again. So I'm curious, have you been noticing icterids? This is that family of blackbirds that our starlings and our grackles and our red wings belong to. Are you noticing flocks near you? It's that time of season, right? So that flocking behavior is something that we can notice really easily on the landscape. And everybody flocks differently, right? We get really captivated by the tight murmurations of birds that seem to move and swirl together by some incredulous way of not crashing into each other. What are you noticing in terms of flocks near you? Feel free to drop that in the chat. This morning, as I was driving to go get groceries and things, I was noticing these flocks of robins that weren't moving together, but they were all kind of moving in different directions, almost like that indecision piece that Drew talks about in his poem. What have you been noticing? Flocks of crows, great, Martha. Melissa, geese, that's the classic one, right? We've had, and it's kind of stopped this week toward the end of the week, but midweek, probably Wednesday, all the way back through the previous Wednesday, it was red-winged blackbirds, big groups of red-winged blackbirds moving through the city here in St. Albans, which I hadn't ever noticed before. And now, like, I'm listening, I'm like, where are you, grosbeak? You are somewhere up in one of those trees, maybe in the box elder in the back. But the grosbeaks come through and they have these like little wider flocks, and they're a little bouncy in their flight, just a little bit, and nice strong wing beats with a little bit of a pause in them. So these are the things that I would like to encourage you to notice today. And that was one of the reasons why I was thinking of a lay spot instead of a sit spot. So if you need to shift, you can do that. If you don't want to lay down, that's fine. I'm going to try to speak from a prone position. We'll see how this works. And I think what was coming to me was this opportunity during this time of year to look up and really notice that horizontal landscape that's up above us that sometimes we're not always paying attention to. And birds draw us into awareness of the vastness of that space, especially during the fall. Okay, I'm gonna find a comfy spot here. I'm checking in on the chat. So Penelope says geese and chickadees. Yeah, so many chickadees. How do chickadees hang out and move together too? We're gonna lay on the back and then we're gonna lay on the belly, because that's the other thing I'm fascinated with. Is migration to me is like, are these extremes, the vastness of the sky But also when everybody comes down to take a break and feed for the day, they're down in this lower kind of horizontal landscape, right? We think of them as layers. So we're gonna get in touch with both. Ooh, mixed flocks of pine siskins and chickadees. Yes. Ooh. Deanna, where are you? Where are you located? Because I had a small flock of pine siskins that came in just recently. Okay. I'm gonna line myself up in the camera just right. Hopefully you're still gonna be able to hear me. Okay, this is pretty good. We'll get a little bit closer and then we'll tip this down just a little bit. Oh, maybe not that far. I lost everybody. Sorry. This is what I'm learning. Here we go. Come on. Oh no. Oh no. Don't worry. Get you back. We're gonna do this. Ah. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Oh, all right. And we'll do the same thing that we always do with our sit spot time. And I'm looking at the time from my other laptop here. All right, it's about 20 after. So we're gonna try to do about 20 minutes. I may talk a little bit, but I'm gonna guide you in a little bit of a breathing exercise first, and a little bit of grounding. This is why I like every once in a while laying down at my sit spot, because it puts me in touch with the land and the earth in a different way. I'm actually gonna pull my blanket back that I've got so I can have my feet. Oh, there we go, feet in the grass. Awesome. All right, so we'll start with a little bit of breathing. And you can close your eyes or you can keep them open and just have a soft gaze downward if you want. The sun is really bright and I'm so feeling that right now. And we're just gonna do a couple of nice inhales, bring in that nice fall scent, and then like a nice slow exhale all the way out. Find that bottom part and then come back up again. So inhale and a nice exhale. Maybe out through the mouth. This is where you get to be right now. You can let everything else go. Relax your body. Another nice inhale. Exhale out through the mouth. Ooh, I'm pushing my breath skyward today. This is a really different feeling. Maybe you're paying attention to how your belly rises and falls as you take a couple of breaths. If you're laying down, you can pay attention to where your body is touching the ground. Relax your shoulders. Listen for your bird friends. Now, in previous guided sessions, we've pushed our awareness outward in a sitting position. And now I'm laying down and it feels very different. So I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to do it with my eyes closed. And I'm going to get my bearings by pushing my awareness, my attention, what I'm feeling, because I can feel the sun right now, out in different directions. And this time we have like this upward piece, right? And we also have this piece downward all the way back to our back. Hi, titmouse, I see you up above me. I'm laying down by my spruce tree in the backyard. All right, so upward, we're gonna push our awareness upward. Eyes open or eyes closed. Take a couple of breaths and then push back down. You can feel my shoulder blades and my hip bones. Yes, chickadee, I hear you. Are you coming right down to the bird bath? You are. Nice. And I'm like eye level with the bird bath. This is what's crazy. If I just tip my head to the left that way, the bird bath is there and I'm at eye level. All right, a couple more breaths, and then I'm going to give you some prompts and some things to try while you're relaxed in this way from where you are. I'm going to send my breath right up to that blue sky. If I push my awareness out, like in terms of touch, if we're being open to all of our senses, I can feel that sunshine. The sunshine really makes me start to think about how do the birds feel about these sunny, warm days in the fall. And most of the birds that I can hear right now are on the other side of me, because that's where the feeders are. Some are up above. All right. So if you can, and you're laying down, see how much like that 360-degree view is, and see if you can look back over your head. Everything's going to be upside down. I'm seeing everybody come into the feeder right now. Chickadee and titmouse. Maybe you want to turn your head all the way to the right. And in this view, I have goldenrod and aster and ferns that are right up against my house. Ooh. Oh, right over my head right now. This is the other thing that I really like about laying down is sometimes to the birds, it's almost like a less alert being that's sharing space with them. And so they come even closer than they would if I was sitting up, which cardinal is about 3 feet above my head right now in a branch 3 or 4 feet. All right, stretch all the way to the other side. So from this view, I have more feeders. I have the ground, the edge of my backyard. I don't hear my grosbeak buddies anymore. Okay, chickadees in the viburnum. I'm really stretching to see this one. All right, we're gonna do a slow roll to the belly, and I'm gonna check in on the chat, and then we'll do some other stuff from belly position. That's good because I have my binoculars above me, and I'm curious who's on the ground behind me because I can hear them. Okay. All right. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're doing like a lay down sit spot today. I'm gonna check in on the chat. We just laid out on our backs. And let's see. All right, my computer seems to have given up on me. And we will, I think I can check in on the chat here. Yes, I can. All right. Ooh, finch eating an apple in an apple tree. Good, good, good. All right, the gentle tickling of chickadee claws on your head. Penelope, did you put birdseed on your head? I'm so curious. All right, what else do we have here? Dondi has a snowy, rainy, dreary day. Lay on the couch and look out the window. Great adaptation of this, right? Like super fun to change our perspective, whether we're inside or outside. All right. Deanna's in North Bend, Washington. Okay. Yes, pine siskins. Chris says, I'm just beginning to learn bird song, but we have chickadees, nuthatches, hummingbirds, but they're mostly here year round. Awesome. Yeah, in slow birding, I talk a lot about really getting to know your usual suspects. And your usual suspects are going to change depending on what time of year you're in. Right now in my yard, I would say the usual suspects lately have been black-capped chickadee, tufted titmouse. The evening grosbeaks have been really super active in my neighborhood, which is not normal at all. So that's a super special visitor right now. And we have flocks of about anywhere to from like 5, like sets of 5 to about 40, which is really super cool. So chickadee, titmouse, nuthatches. I got nuthatch, right? And I can hear them right now. I think there's a few sparrows over there in my messy gardens that I didn't plant this year. They all went to weed seeds, but it's been really cool because we have a lot of sparrows and juncos that are coming in. Here comes chickadee into the feeder. Good, good. All right, so now we're on your belly, right? And you got to prop yourself up a little bit. You know, I'm all for getting cozy at a sit spot, so don't be afraid to bring out, you know, a blanket and a pillow or whatever in the wintertime, right? I'm layered up. And I do bring a polar fleece blanket with me whenever I go. Hi, chickadee. And another chickadee. Maybe you can hear the nuthatches in my yard. Oh. Okay, blue jay just came in. I'm like, I'm curious, can you see it in my, there. If I tip it that way just a little bit, I think the feeder gets in it. All right, so down here in this perspective too, getting down low, again, sometimes I think that upright posture makes birds a little bit more wary, especially if we're watching them intently. It makes them feel like they might be a prey item. And so sometimes getting down even lower than sitting can be beneficial. And it gives you a whole other perspective. Maybe it's junco or sparrow perspective. Okay, I've got robins coming in. I can see the robin silhouette. Ooh, little peek, tut, tut, tut with the bouncy tail in the yard next to mine. I had big flyovers of crows just as I was setting up today too. Up and down in the shrub. So the chickadees are coming in and active. I don't hear any more of the grosbeaks at this point in time. So tell me about, ooh, there, someone's typing in some good stuff. What do they have coming up? All right, and you got to coach people on 4-letter codes. So let's see if I can we'll get in the chat here. So we've got somebody using some 4-letter codes, which bird code is a way to use shorthand to kind of describe quickly what you're noticing. And typically what you do is you take the first 2 letters of the first part of the bird's common name and the first 2 letters of the second part of the bird's common name, like no ka. Betsy B has put up here, no ka. You put them all in capitals. Ooh. So no ka would be northern cardinal. She's got Deju, that's dark-eyed junco. So that bird's first part of its common name is hyphenated. So we have to take the first letter and the first letter, dark and eyed, so the D and the E, and then junco. Good, good. Penelope's got angry chickadees fighting over seed in my hand. Your hand feeding, super cool. You know what? Maybe next year we'll figure out how to do some like double screen shares or something like that, and get folks set up so that they can share what they're having in their backyard during their sit spot. And we could kind of do a really cool virtual share session. That would be really good. Yes, there we go. Penelope's got it. BCCH, black capped chickadee. So we got another hyphenated one. What else did she have? Tootie. I like that one. Tufted titmouse. Nice. All right. I'm noticing the breeze now. It's so nice. Okay. We're going to do one final scan. I'm going to move back to my back. And one of the things that I love about flocking during this time of year is really, just taking advantage of noticing how birds move. And they all move differently. We have tight flocks and loose flocks. We have murmurations of birds that move together. We have these little traveling posses of birds. Like I think about the chickadees and the titmice that are here, and how that little kind of posse of birds is going to get tighter as we get into cooler weather, nothing like what we have today, and how they come to rely on each other. And I think that really ties back into this theme that I've been thinking about for this month. Ooh, something big just, wow. I just got buzzed by a cardinal. It's right there. I see you, cardinal. You almost, maybe you thought you could land on me. That would be great. But going back to these flocks, it's like our family units and like our communities, and that theme of kithship and kinship, right? This connection we have with each other, but then also not forgetting about the connection that we need and we should have with the land. Something a little more to think about. If you don't get my monthly newsletter, you can go online to my website at birddiva.com and sign up for that. I have a new blog that you can find right across the top of my website. And I wrote about this whole idea of kithship and kinship. It's really funny because in the closed captioning, it's coming across as kithship. That'll be a fun one to correct. All right. Last blast. Let's see. Can you still see me from here? I'm going to turn a little bit so I can look up underneath the tree. Oh my gosh. Red-breasted nuthatches here. A change in perspective can do you a lot of good. And maybe you'll see some other things that you haven't noticed before. All right. I'm going to bliss out on this. I'm going to take a couple more deep breaths. And then we'll say goodbye for this month, and I'll see you in December. I wonder what it's going to be like then. That's going to be kind of crazy. Oh, just breathing in the air from today. Sending it back out to the chickadees and the nuthatch that I'm watching above me. Pick open a seed. Lots of gratitude for the sun and time with all of you. Thanks again for joining me. Check out more stuff at my website at birddiva.com, and all of the previous sessions of the First Fridays are on my YouTube page. So if you Google Bridget Butler, Bird Diva, YouTube, you will find other sessions with other great tips of things to try at your sit spot. I kind of feel like a nuthatch upside down right now. All right, take care, everybody. I'm gonna stop the recording and catch you guys next time.